Joe Taylor, who's the curator of the museum, he has stated that it is going back 300 million years old. So, right, so now we have a vessel, right, from 600 million years old in Dorchester, Massachusetts. That is from Utah, all right, in a little Utah. And now we have neck valves, plumbing, like moderate plumbing, right? System, 300 million years old. All is this before the continental drift occurred. Just keep that in mind. Right here, in 1944, a 10-year-old boy, Newton Anderson, dropped a lump of coal in his basement and it broke in half and hit the floor. When he discovered inside, defies explanation based upon current scientific orthodoxy. Inside the coal was a handcrafted bell alloy, handcrafted brass alloy bell with a iron clapper and sculptured handle. When the analysis was carried out, it was discovered that the bell was made of an unusual mix of metals, different from any known modern alloy production. So it doesn't even match anything that is made today. It includes copper, zinc, tin, arsenic, iodine, and selenium. Now, who ever heard of iodine, selenium, and arsenic being part of? Exactly. Like and selenium.
Who would know that it would be?
Exactly. So they found out that the sea from which this lump of coal was mined is estimated to be 300 million years old. So here we have another 3 million year old object. All right, another one. And there it is. That bell, once again, somebody had to be smelting metal. There's no way around it. No way around it. Uh-oh. This 290 million year old human footprint has experts baffled. Of course it does. Because this does not fit into the 6,000 year storyline which they were going to tell us. The rock, which belongs to the Permian period 299 to 251 million years ago, was discovered in New Mexico. Oh, now we're in New Mexico. Sound like we done walked all over the place. All right, and features a human footprint left behind apparently nearly 299 million years ago. But there wasn't any humans on Earth at that time. Right there. Well, here we go now to 225 million years ago. But this is a commonly held concept of Pangea, of course, as we've seen it earlier. All right. Here's another human shoe print. Here's a double stitch. All right. It's a double stitch, so if they double stitch on this, on this footprint, let's put some shoes on. Here it is, another human shoe print discovered in 1927, preserved as a Triassic limestone dated 225 million years ago. Now, earlier on January the 25th, 1927, geologist Albert Knapp discovered a remarkably preserved heel mark made in Triassic limestone dating back 225 million years ago. And this was on the same time that the continental drift, which was just beginning to happen. Knapp spotted the fossil among some loose rocks, which he descended in a small hill in Fisher Canyon, Pershing County, Nevada. So, Nevada, Utah, Dorchester, Massachusetts, New Mexico. Right. Okay. Now we come to the continental drift. In the early 20th century, a German scientist, Alfred Wegener, published a book explaining his theory that the continental land masses, from far from being immovable, were drifting across the earth. He called this movement, or continental drift. Wigener noticed that the coast of Western Africa and Eastern South America looked like the edge of an interlocking piece of a jigsaw puzzle, and he was right. He was not the first to notice this, but he was the first to formally present evidence suggesting that the two continents has once been connected. Right? Wigener was convinced that the two continents were one part of an enormous single landmass that is split apart. He knew that the two areas had many geological and biological similarities. For example, fossils that the ancient reptiles, Mesosaurus, are only found in southern Africa and South America. The Mesosaurus, a freshwater reptile, only 1 meter, which is 3.3 feet, or 3 feet and 3 inches long, could not have swarmed the Atlantic Ocean. Presence of Mesosaurus suggests a single habitat with many lakes and rivers. Wigener believed that all the continents, not just Africa and South America, had once been joined into a single supercontinent. This huge ancient landmass is known as Pangaea, which means all lands in Greek. Pangaea existed about 240 million years ago, but about 200 million years ago, the supercontinent began breaking up. Over millions of years, Pangaea separated into two pieces that moved away from one another. And these pieces slowly assumed their present position as the continent. All right. So we still dating it down. So now we know that the continental drift has occurred now around 200 million years ago. Well, we're still finding shoes. In 1997, there was a case of a 200 million year old shoe print discovered on Red Mountain in China. Now we in China. One particular fossil dated 200 million years ago had a shoe print on it. The school teacher discovered the fossil on Red Mountain in Urumqi City in 1997. The shoe print is on a slate rock, measures approximately 10 inches. It's clearly a shoe print. On the heel portion of the shoe print, there is a prehistoric codfish fossil about 5 inches long. So this is how also that they can verify, because there's prehistoric codfish. So they did the prehistoric codfish with the stone. Hence, the shoe print had to be validated. That is 200 million years old. Okay, 200 million years old. Go to St. Louis, Missouri. Footprint in Premium Rock, 200 million years old. Go to Better, Kentucky. Footprint in Pennsylvania Rock, 200 million years old. To keep finding it over and over again, and the establishment cannot deal with this information. And they can't.
I do believe
this information, which is about the giants, because we found footprints about 10 inches long, with 13 size, 13 shoes, and now we find them even larger now. Now we get to beings who had to have been at least 25 feet tall. Now we get to beings who had to be at least 25 feet tall, because this right here, that first one, that is 6 toes. This is when the so-called Nephilims come in at, which that the Bible speaks of, who was a man of renown, older renown, and they was the giants in the land. Goliath, who fought against David, was one of these descendants of these Nephilims, but this is what this is talking about. But here we have found that the giant footprints have been found all over the world. We're talking about in Africa, in Russia, in China, in India. They're found everywhere. They're dated. But here it is. That one with Michael Carson. That footprint again, that footprint is 4 feet. Now, I got one size number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 feet. Okay, that's about 4 feet. Right? So that means I'm 6 feet tall, and that means that times 4 would be what? 6 times 4. 24. That means whoever foot this was had to be almost 25 feet tall. That's what this means.
Genesis, the Bible that we're part of the Bible that it spoke about when Abel, and when Abel was ostracized from the garden, he went to the land of God. There were people there, so it just wasn't Adam and their family in the garden. He went to a place where he didn't go, but that's the land. There was people. No. Reptilians. That's why I didn't want to go. Okay. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's how I ended up making that little mistake about the reptile. Oh, yeah. Right. But anyway, these are the footprints, right? So this is so this one here was found in China. Now the footprint as you see here, this one here is at least 2 of his feet. Definitely wider than 3. Right, wider than 3 of his feet. So now, let's say his foot. Don't know who he is. Right, but let's say his foot size 9, 10. Look like you got a whole nother. Big feet. Yeah, big too. So, basketball players don't really about maybe 7 feet tall. They have a size maybe 15 feet. Right? 15, maybe. And I see some maybe 18. I should say 18 inch shoes. Right? Y'all do that, right? I'm 7 feet, 18 inch. But it definitely is larger than any basketball player. Right. But we can speculate probably about this individual here about 12 to 13 feet tall. So it's going to be about 12 to 13 feet tall. So, these are things in which that so-called modern archaeologists and anthropologists talk about there. So it's opened up a whole new full of interest in history about our original history, which correlates with the Bible at the time period of what they have given us. It's over 6,000 years. Because what we find out that a day is not, like what we think. A day is not 24 hours. Right, or sun to sunrise, right? 12 hours. It's not very time scale. Right? These days could be eons. God could talk for the possibilities. See, so we have to go there to understand it based on the information. Right, in recent years, more giant footprints have been found in Spain, Bangalore, Swamp, Texas, Australia, Thailand, Canada, New Mexico, Russia, Alaska, Syria, Belize, and Cleveland. These are
The giants inhabited the earth during that particular time in history.
Yes.
And it still could be inhabited.
And true, Bigfoot something.
Yes. I mean, I thought about Bigfoot.
Yeah. Well, there's Bigfoots too.
Yeah, I'm not saying
the
but
Yeti or Bigfoot or what they call Sasquatch.
Sasquatch.
Yeah, all of that exists.
Yeah.
But the thing is that 2.8 billion years ago, we was in human form in some shape, form, or fashion. And during that time period, there was nothing on the planet Earth because the Earth was still cooling down. And what I speculate is that we were the ones that was utilizing DNA and different other material that we found in order to create the species, various species of animals and insects and all these things upon this planet. You see? In other words,
We predate those
because
animals.
right, because 2.8 billion years ago predates
Yeah.
all life forms as scientists know it.
Yeah,
This
because
is
they
why
say there was no
this-
life there.
Right, there was no life 2.8 billion years ago. At least not in the scientists, you know, in their archaeologists, anthropology, their fields. They state that. That's why I showed you the actual guy, the guy saying that, you know, the curator. He said, hold up, there's no man. What could a man think could have possibly been there? You know, he was saying that, you know, they're always trying to bring sarcasm into something that's a serious matter. You know, we talk about the evolution of, you know, the so-called evolution of humans on this planet. And you got me saying that, okay, I'm only 200,000 years old, but yet we got information that dates back to 2.8 billion. You know, there's something wrong with these analysis, you know, these analyses. So right here, this is one that was found in Russia and one that's found in Bangalore. And of course, there are giants in the earth in those days, and after that, the sons of God came to their daughters and men, and they bore children to them. The same became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. Genesis 6:4. Now, so that means that there was two groups. You had the giants, which we showed, and then of course we had the humans. But obviously the humans existed prior to the giants, because none of these footprints go back 2.8 billion years. You see? So we continue on. So when the continents begin to start breaking apart, we have about 150 million years ago on Laurasia, and then Gondwana. Now, Laurasia, of course, that's to become the word Asia, all right, in which that all of the bodies at this time became known as Asia. Right? This is why we have people called Black Asiatic or Afro-Asiatics, which is talking about us. And then you have the Caucasians, you know, they're Asians, but they're Caucasian. And then you have the Orientals, they're Asian. So everybody on planet Earth is Asian. All right, and this is the reason why, because Laurasia was part of this whole thing. When the continent began to start breaking apart, that portion up top there, which you see, North America and Asia was still part of breaking away from, well, not really breaking away, but you can see how North America lifted up off of Africa, but there's still a meeting point between North America and Asia, what they call Asia Minor and Asia Major. Actually, Africa would be Asia Major if you want to get technical. All right, Europe, what they call Europe would be Asia Minor. And then, of course, you have Asia. All right. And then, of course, then you have what they call Hyperborea. This is a map. So even though when the landmass broke apart, there was another landmass which they talk about Hyperborea would have been the Antarctic Circle area, which would have been more tropical at the time, warm, in which that this was a famous cartographer, Gerhard Mercator. He's the one who did the Mercator map, which was inaccurate, very inaccurate, because he had Greenland large as Africa, when Africa is 10 times the size of the United States. You can take the United States, you can take India, you can take Australia, you can take all these continents and countries, put them in Africa, you know, and still have some room, you know. So that's how large Africa is. I mean, it's humongous. The only thing that's larger is what they refer to as Asia. So we find that the indigenous Americans were told that they were wiped out, replaced by Mongolians or Mongoloids, and that they was really blacks from recent Africa, all brought to the New World by Europeans on ships. Well, really, we are the first people on the continent. All right, and how we know that because they're still there. The original Australians, the original Asians, the original people of Latin descent, the original Filipinos, the original Indians, and the original people of India. They're still on every continent to this very day. They still there. You know? And then you get this book, it's called Guides and Spacemen in the Ancient West. Now, this is a strange book. When I gave this title up about 15 years ago, people was like, oh man, where you got that book from? I said, you need to go and read it. Because they tell us some truth on this information here. But right here, Guides and Spacemen in the Ancient West. This is by W. Raymond Drake. And guess what he says? He said that the Pygmies inhabited Earth for 30 million years. He said the Pygmies inhabited Earth for 30 million years. Now, of course, he's being very conservative with his time. I think you need to add on at least another zero. Would be 300 million years, as we just finished seeing. Because see, this is normally what they do in anthropology and archaeology. They take off zeros so that it won't go back as far as they first speculate, because they don't want to go outside of the academic belief system. All right. So who are the Pygmies? The Pygmies are various ethnic groups worldwide, because they are the ones who spread it into all of the continents. This is how we get all of these. The original Australians, Asians, Latin descent, Filipinos, Indians, and India, or who we call the Jarawa people. They all, as we all do, we all come from the Pygmies, because they are the original people on planet Earth. They are the oldest people on planet Earth, or the 12 people, the Pygmies, as they're called. So right here it says that the term is what anthropologists says. It defines Pygmies as any group whose adult male grows to less than 150 centimeters. In other words, 4 feet and 11 inches high in average height. A member of the slightly taller group is termed pygmoid or pygmioid. It says the best known Pygmies are the Akab, the Ipa, Mebutu, and Mebutu of Central Africa. There are also other Pygmies in Australia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Papua New Guinea, and Brazil. Now these are the same areas, amazingly, that we find that we just finished talking about now. Same area. How is that? You see that? Same area. Australia, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, Papua New Guinea, Brazil. Philippines, Asian, Australia, Indian, which would have been Brazil. So right here it says the term also includes the degree. So Southeast Asia, the remaining or at least 25 miniature humans who lived between 1,000 and 3,000 years ago were found on the island of Palau in Micronesia. Now, this was the crazy thing about this book. The fact that it stated, this is one of the only books that I've been able to find that actually stated how far back that they was able to actually identify the Pygmies of the planet. And he gave it up to at least 30 million years. So that's the reason why I used his book. But like I said, I think it still took a zero off. It should be 300 million based on the information that we did. But you get the other books, it's not even something that's familiar man, our church man. He says that the Pygmies are the original and the oldest living people. He just says it. I'm glad to say it right there. And then he says that now Negroes are probably one of the first of the elite race of the race that was the first, the oldest race of men after the Pygmies. This is quoted in 1903, page 163. In the Pygmies are known as the 12 people, the best people of the time of Anu. Now, Anu, the name Anu is very particular because we find that name in the Sumerian text too. That was their deity, was Anu in the Sumerian text. So you get the Anu image, the tales of Etana, the tales of Ishtar, all of these, or even the Gilgamesh, the epic of Gilgamesh. You find all of these tales, they speak of Anu being a god. Well, Anu is actually nothing more than another name for the people. They are the Anu people. And you are descendants from them, so therefore we are Anu. Now, our church boy, he was 30 degrees Freemason. Now we get to CW11, 33 degrees Freemason. In his book, In the Life of Mexico, he goes even further. He says the big race is rather than over warnings and the Romans were at one time gigantic people. So that means something happened. What happened drastically in which that made us at one time giants, you know what I'm saying, or we was at one time normal, we grew to giant, then came back into something happened. And what we figured out is that around 65 million years ago, when they talk about the death of the dinosaurs, what they said was is that meteorites hit the planet Earth. Well, we speculate that it wasn't meteorites. Remember, we showed you that it was nuclear reactors 2 billion years ago. We believe that it was nuclear holocaust in which that took place, in which that we absorb so much radiation, and because of the oxygen content changing from 35% to less than 20, to around 21%, we had to accommodate it. So hence we shrunk this. So, of course, what I speculate is that we destroyed the dinosaurs. This is why most studies you just want to be black because I
the time that has to get to come, that basically is going to those who are in spaceships that are supposed, this is what it says, that they're waiting behind the clouds and waiting for us to be the access themselves. And if these things are already, have already been put in this book, and mankind could take everything out. And there are, and it's, when you read the code, you can see that the transmission, like you said, like it was a sun. And it talks about rockets basically that could melt your bones off of your eye sockets and all of that. I mean, it's the only thing you can put together is that's
process is dying out. That's why, see, he doesn't say a lot of it. That's what he's saying. It's 7 so it's like not crucified. That he was found last chronicles. Not possibly been known unless there was some type of China. So this was over. says that African Richmond also was the same race, but very makes a lot. He doesn't say how that is. He doesn't say that. Same thing is true. Those are usually called the ritual, except that they can be very bad. Should know that you want to look rather things. That's the things. You can see it all the way to close.
Rabbit fences.
Right.
Australia.
Well, right. There's colonizing.
Why they must not?
Right. There's colonizing. And at one time, it says the Indians were spreading the whole Africa. But for sure, they exploded out to showed you. It was all some first people. When you go to Egypt, there are chefs, which they have you about in 4.5 feet tall. They even all we got, I would me more like that. We was in London, but that's the way we were able to was much more of a change. Yeah, I'm saying this because of this very expertise. So, this is right over one. Over one. This is one. It's actually what we refer to as Hawaii. It's Hawaii. Hawaii area. Right? So Pacific. So we're going to be living in probably sea level. So we go type of all that southern Asia. So you know, keep that in mind. I have to go back because I want to show this here. This is a hammer that was actually found. You know how far this hammer dates back to? 500. And this is where they this, they analyze this over and over. It says in June 1936, some say 1934, some kind of that same thing is white family. They decided to take this IT home and get it cracked open. Yeah, they checked. Why did that? And what was they took it to the team of archaeology to check it. They came back. That was the day to over 50. More than 4 new years ago. There is some question regarding the date, though, according to the issue measurements, the hammer itself turned out to be more than 500 years old. Apparently, it's so old that a section of the hammer is transformed to code. Creation is, of course, all over this, and which is called lashed out after hammer in the 80s. Even using it as a basis of speculating on how that probably like could have been encouraged or could have encouraged the global giant to see, you know, saying the same thing that we talked about right here. The quality of this like could have encouraged the global giants. The Helen they had more than 6% more than pure than any nature could have achieved inside the system. So they know this as a fact. So once again, right here, in the so-called United States, 600 million years of the sea contained on an entire vessel. Right? 500 million see that. 300 million years, see the footprints of shoes. It shows over and over and over again that we've been miseducated. Here's another example. It says, "Strange or fact, the history of human with that." Now, this is a clear fossil. It's something now. You got the relics. Now, show you look to instead of that. So, for a rock people, who's 30 million years old, right? At least, right? Here we find, right here, 28 million years old human skeleton in a really big basement. Basement. It used to be on display back in the early 1900s. Right, right. However, it says put it in the basement. Right. But it says from the Caribbean islands of that's in the Western Hemisphere. That's in the Caribbean islands. And they found it and shipped it to the British Museum. Shipped it to the British Museum. It's back 30 almost 30 million around the time. For children. In other words, the way that we put this information together, probably is a little bit better than the present information that they've been teaching us in school. So if you can give a timeline there of information as compared to, 205 years ago, nothing existed. You know, a Neanderthal, well, he came from the monkeys, you know, apes, and then here go the ape species, and there's all this, you know what I'm saying? Here it is. This is what it does, it destroys Charles Darwin's theory. So this is one reason why they don't allow this information. Because guess what? Everything I just told you was all for ape species. Ape species only date back 20 million years. The monkey species only date back 50 million years. Everything I just told you was beyond 20 and 50 million years ago. So they can't let that theory go. That would destroy Charles Darwin and all the nonsense that they taught us in school. They became from apes and monkeys and so forth and so on.
It's kind of funny that, you have all these zoos with monkeys and not one had turned into nothing.
Right, right.
Not yet,
Right.
Please
And now one has molten metal. That's how we know for sure. All right? Because that one is molten metal. Oh, Memorial.
Memorial.
No, I can't do
Memorial.
that.
Memorial. Memorial. They're good. They're good. You can see.
No, they complain.
Oh, they can play. Y'all gonna get a special presentation. I got 2 of them coming up for y'all. It's all right. Right here, in 1887, Florentino Amico discovered apparently man-made heaps, primitive flint toes, carved bones, and a moderate-looking human spinal bone placing stratus to 3 to 5 million years old at Monta Hermosa, Argentina. That's how it's done. He also made similar finds in Mesocene strata in Argentina, which dates back to 5 to 25 million years old. So here we have pygmies, 30 million years old. Here we have the skeleton in Guadalupe, 28 million years old. Now we have bones 25 million to 5 million to 3 million years old, and they all human. Once again, destroys every theory of Charles Darwin, of what they told us in school that we evolved from monkeys. And once again,